let's move on to the next part of the checkup. We are titling this section The Casting Couch. And what would mark Alejandro Inarritu's first English language film since The Revenant? Sources tell Deadline, Warner Brothers, and Legendary Entertainment are in negotiations for an untitled Inarritu film that will star none other than Ricky Flick's favorite movie star, Tom Cruise. The film is going to be produced and directed by Inarritu. New script that was written in 2023 with Sabina Berman. Okay, this is the first film for Cruise, who also produced following the announcement of the strategic partnership with Warner Brothers last month. Legendary is a part of this as well. Ricky Flicks. There's been a lot of murmurs following the Warner Brothers connection with Tom Cruise that he will be more into making auteur films, ones that he gained notoriety for in the late 80s, throughout the 90s, and sprinkle in the early 2000s, not really. But Ricky Flicks, what do you think about this transition from Cruise?
It was never a doubt. All the haters out there that said he was never going to do this, the auteur filmmaking, just suck my This is unreal. Like, I told you he'd be back. He is back. And earlier this week, there was reports saying that, oh, Tom Cruise, Edge of Tomorrow 2. It's like, okay, good. Like, that was kind of like what we assumed with his reunited with Warner Brothers here. But then there was a sub-headline in that saying Tom Cruise interested in auteur filmmaking again, or working with the auteur filmmaker again. Oh, interesting. So you're saying there's a chance. And boom, Inarritu, Cruise, we're so back. And again, Inarritu, Best Picture winner for what? Birdman. Star of Birdman. Michael Keaton. What was he doing before Birdman? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. One of Hollywood's greatest comebacks, Birdman. And he was nominated for an Oscar. Didn't win. Tom Cruise will get a nomination for this award. I cannot wait for this. This Inarritu's hit or miss for me. Like Babel, 21 grams, like but I do like The Revenant, even though it's long. I do like Birdman, even though it's wacky. Bardo didn't work for me, but you know what? He gets performances from his actors, and him saying Tom Cruise star in my movie, that is something that is must watch box office.
Mid 2010s Inarritu, like he kind of peaks, you know, but at the same time, right? This is a pretty inspired casting. That you're going to get Tom Cruise here, Ricky Flicks. And I was a fan of The Revenant. I like The Revenant. Tom Cruise will not be doing a movie like The Revenant. I guarantee you that. This has got to be something spicy. You know, he's not going to be hunting in the wild and he might get attacked by a bear, but maybe a different animal this time. But he's not going to be in a quiet, quaint type of film. It's going to be bombastic, like a Bardo, like a louder movie, but right, English-driven film here. English language film here. This has got to be the most noteworthy auteur filmmaker that Cruise has worked with since Spielberg and War of the Worlds back in 2005, right?
Yes.
And that's not an auteur type of movie. You could say like Vanilla Sky, Cameron Crowe, or even go back to Kubrick with Eyes Wide Shut. You know, and he's been working with Macquarie, Doug Liman, right? Action-oriented directors that he has full control of, basically has his hands on those films. He probably will have his hands on this film too, because it's this Warner Brothers, the person he just signed a deal with, right? But I'm wondering what that relationship is going to look like with this director in this type of movie. Is it going to be still as hands-on as he is with like a Mission Impossible, or is he going to kind of lay off the gas, a little more laissez-faire, right? Let Inarritu do his thing. Is that even in the persona of Tom Cruise? Who knows? I just want to get the details of this. And I think when we find out the plot of this, we'll know exactly how much Tom Cruise will have to do with it.
Yeah. So again, we have to remember, like, this is going to be a big budget film. Like, according to the reports, like, it's going to be big. So, and it's an original film. So Inarritu, he'll be writing this. He'll be whipping this up. And again, he always gets his actors nominated. He always does. And think about Leo. Gets the win for Revenant. Again, not the greatest movie. I like it. And you liked it as well. But again, Leo was like, he never won before, but that got him over the edge. Cruise has got to be looking at that the same way here. That's what I think. And Inarritu, again, great supporting cast in all his movies, right? You think of The Revenant, Tom Hardy also arguably should have won an Oscar for supporting role there.
Amazing
And
in
then
that movie.
so good. You think of Birdman, Emma Stone, Ed Norton, like insane supporting cast. I don't want to get into babble, but like it's also
Brad Pitt?
really good, like insane supporting cast. So they're gonna surround Tom Cruise with the guys needed to elevate his performance even more. And it's big budget, so Tom Cruise looks at that as an opportunity where it's like, all right, I've only done big budget for the past 15 years. If I win an Oscar for a big budget movie over like a more artsy fartsy type of movie, that's like cements his legacy even more. So this is huge. This is massive. And I'm just so happy that, again, the haters out there that said Tom Cruise like would never try this again. You're wrong. You were wrong. This is it. We're in the times.
So this type of like movie that he's taking on and this transition to more auteur type of films, or transition back, I should say, the rebound, right? Coming back. It kind of it hasn't worked for a lot of guys who have been nominated for Oscars before. You think of like Tom Hanks' late career and how like disappointing a lot of those movies are, but like they don't have the drive of Tom Cruise. That's where it's different, right? They don't have like a chip on their shoulders. They don't have the drive where I'm going to be the best at a certain craft, right? Like it's like Tom Cruise is kind of like Daniel Day-Lewis in that way, right? Where it's like I'm going to be the best at this particular thing. He not saying he's the same level of actor because Daniel Day-Lewis is widely regarded as the best actor who's ever lived, right? Best actor alive right now. And whenever he does a project, it's a big deal. And they make different types of movies, but their ambition and their drive, I think it's very similar. You know, willing to do whatever it takes to succeed. Tom Cruise is the type of guy just won't fail at anything. You know, so I don't think he's going to have that latter part of his career, but I do feel like him taking on these movies, we're about to enter the twilight. Like he's like 60, right? And he notices he can't be doing the stunts that he was doing previously. He's making that movie in space, obviously super ambitious, yada yada yada. But like, what can he still achieve? He's a goal setter, you know? He's a guy who puts something on the fridge and gets it freaking done and crosses it off. And he says, I want to win an Oscar by the time I bite the dust. Cross it off. You're saying Inarritu's movie, right? I love that take. And I hope that his appearance in The Movie Critic, which is not completely finalized yet, I hope that is more substantial than what was being reported.
Yeah, my guess for The Movie Critic is that it's a Michael Fassbender type of role in Inglourious Bastards.
I like that.
So nothing to get him an Oscar or anything, but it's a nice little warm up. It's a nice little warm up for this. And I think it's important to kind of circle it back to how he's just more driven than anybody in the industry. Like think back to the COVID incident on set of Mission Impossible and how like that freak out.
Psycho.
Yeah, he's a psycho. I like he's gonna be this. I don't think he's gonna be the same way here because this is Inarritu. Like he's an auteur. Cruise, like he's worked with auteurs before. Think Paul Thomas Anderson. I can't remember. Yeah. Like it's just like this guy's a 4-time Oscar-nominated actor. Like he's not gonna like mess around here. And I think one more thing to say is that you're completely right. We've said it before. He's about to be 60. He realizes Mission Impossible. This is probably might be his last Mission Impossible movie because he has Mission Impossible Part 2. He has the SpaceX project. And he has like the space project that's with SpaceX. And then he has Edge of Tomorrow 2, Live, Die, Repeat, whatever. So that's 3 projects. He's going to be a short stint with Tarantino and then Inarritu. That's like so many years. He's going to be like 66 when all those projects are done. So his acting days, especially action star days, will probably most likely be over. So this next Mission Impossible movie is most likely his last. And we're entering that twilight stage where, okay, we're going off the action movies and we're going back to trying to get an Oscar. And I love that. I love that.
Most likely going to be in Top Gun 3 also.
Oh, right. Forgot about Top Gun 3.
But he'll be in that movie in some respect. I don't know if he'll be the lead. If Tom Cruise is, if it's Top Gun, you know my thoughts. I think he's going to be the lead.